John Bentley.
CFO gang, it's the boy Jay Tuck. We're now Cowboy fans only channel. I appreciate everyone in the chat. I see the chat's already lighting up, man. But if you're new to the channel, go ahead and do me a favor, comment, like, subscribe somewhere down there, and be sure to turn on that notification bell. But as you see, I got some guys with. So I want to start to my left because this is the first time he's on the actual channel. I got my guy Rick, Space Cowboy in the house, man. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, Tuck? Thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to start this whole conversation we're about to have. So
yeah, man. We got a lot to talk about, and of course, I got my guy, Mr. Nix himself, Star Gang in the building. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, we bouncing it back after that 6-hour session on Saturday into Sunday. We in the hours. We had a deck. We like that, but we can't sign him. But he's Patrick Mahomes on Kansas City, way to dispel that kind of thing. Some people kind of got on us on Twitter about going at him,
right?
But either way, neither here nor there. But y'all know what time it is, man. Stargate in the building. Hey, man, I'm quite the serious kick with Space as well, man. First time jumping on with Space as well, so I'm excited, man.
Yeah, man. And just the headline, y'all, we will not be going 6 hours tonight.
No.
We can't be having that.
Not on a Tuesday. It's going up on a Tuesday. Not that much.
Not tonight, man. But I appreciate everyone, like I said on my show the other night, man. I appreciate everyone who stayed in for that 6 hours, man. You guys kept the channel.
Hey, man, look, man. Yeah, man, we've had a disconnect. We had to refire it back up, man. And people's with us all the way to the end, man. Shout out to all them guys that rocked with us throughout. And ladies.
Everyone. Well. So we're talking about Twitter a second ago, man, and my guy Rick. So what happened the other day, man? I had a Dak hater, right? And he was chiming in. He said, Dak's not worth getting signed because Dak has no comebacks in the fourth quarter. He's not clutch. And I literally said, my guy Space Cowboy has a whole 30-minute video explaining all of Dak's comebacks in the fourth quarter. And I tagged my guy Space Cowboy in it. Unfortunately, I saw the conversations kept escalating. And I reached out like, hey, man, I apologize. I didn't mean to get you into that. But he was holding his own, man. So, shouts out to my guy. Definitely check out his channel, man, because he drops fire content, man. I'm a huge fan. So let's go ahead and talk about it, man. Rick, I'm going to start with you. This whole Dak Prescott situation, what is your thoughts and how are you feeling right now about the temperature when it comes between Dak Prescott, Todd France, and Jerry and Stephen Jones getting this deal done?
So to start things off, my whole opinion is pretty simple. Dak's your guy, number one. Number two, he's the best option you have if you're looking to replace him or even if you were even thinking about that. And most importantly, he's the best bang for your buck if what you're trying to pay. So you got to sign him. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's your guy. Now, if you were to ask me personally what I feel like is going to happen, he's not getting a long-term deal this week. He's going to get franchise tagged. He's going to get franchise tagged on the 9th, right before the deadline. And what's going to end up happening is he's not going to sign it. He's going to wait until July to sign it so that he doesn't have to worry about getting traded or the Cowboys doing any funny business. But the problem with that, and we'll get into that momentarily, I don't want to jump the gun there, is we're going to have Stephen Jones come out, and he's going to be like, well, we don't have the cap space to do X, Y, and Z because we're putting it all on Dak. And it's just an excuse for us to not go after guys like he always does every single year. So I think that ultimately, if you think that replacing Dak is a good option, you need to explain to me why. If you're going to tell me there's a guy out there in free agency that can do that, by all means, point to him. I don't see a guy out there that can go in and do exactly what Dak Prescott can do with what you have right now. Right. Then you have the draft, and unfortunately, if we had the number 1 overall pick, you might have an argument to make, hey, we have a generational talent coming out of the draft in Trevor Lawrence, so maybe you can do that. But we aren't there. You're not even in position to get Zach Wilson either, unless you're lucky there. So you don't really have any options available for you at 10. So where you can be like, oh, what about Mac Jones? I'm sorry, Mac Jones, as much as I like senior quarterbacks, I'm not a big fan of him. I don't know how he would look, but especially considering that we have so many problems on this offensive line, you got to consider, hey, at 10, you might end up having to do that, getting an offensive lineman or go early there. Right. So why would I get a quarterback? And then here's the funniest thing is you have people that say, let's tag Dak and take a quarterback with with your 10th pick. That would be the biggest waste of draft capital that you can ever do because you're trying to get a 5-year investment with that first pick. Because why would I get a 5-year investment in a quarterback when if I sign Dak and you're going to try and trade that guy, you're not going to get that same type of value back. Right. So to kind of end this whole soliloquy, Dak's your guy. Right. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Pay him, and let's roll with him. Let's make sure that we can get some guys in here in free agency and go into the draft, not having to worry about, we need this. No, you don't get the best player available. So we'll go into all that later. But, yeah, that's my overall thought process.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. I'm more aligned about you when it comes to this whole deal. I feel like Dak is going to get franchise tagged again. He will not sign it until July, but I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are going to try to pursue every alternative option to see if something was to happen, right? And I feel like once we get in the summer, once they exhausted all their options, they'll find out, you know what, we tried to replace this guy. We didn't find any other options. Let's go ahead and get the deal done, and then we'll see it in the summer. But my guy, Nix, feels otherwise. I know he's been feeling strongly that the deal's going to be done soon. Yep. So go ahead, Nix, and explain what your thoughts.
And I did a show a little earlier today. You can catch it on the Stargame podcast on YouTube channel. Go check it out. It's over there. I did a hot 30 minutes earlier today. And, man, the comment of the day is going to be common sense, right? Right. And more, maybe even more specifically, common business sense, if you will. Stephen Jones is always, and here's the thing, right? He played hardball with Dak, he caved. He played hardball with D-Law, he caved. He's played hardball with Dak going into the 3rd year now. At this point, he's got to cave. I mean, let's look at the brass tacks and some of the facts. Right. One, they paid Dak $31 million last year, right, on the tag. Right. The most they've ever paid a Cowboys player ever in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. If they were to pay him on the tag this year, 37.1-ish, 1.2, somewhere in there. Right. And, of course, if you do tag him this year, that means the next year tag will be $54 million, right? Right. So $37 million to eat up this cap. You got $25 million free right now. You have to be underneath the cap by March 17th. So I don't think they're going to do that. I think, again, it's got back to the point. It's meet the head. You played the long game. You've tried. And you've done different things. You've offered different contracts. And to me, it's not about the APY. I don't think it's about the average per year that they're worried about. Whenever you hear these terms getting thrown out here in the media of respect and things of that ilk, I think what it boils down to is the full guaranteed money. So if you want the years, you got to go up on the full guaranteed. I think that's where we're going to be at now because it doesn't again, one of the things I said off the top, right, and I think actually me and you was on when I said this. The one thing that I was scared about when it came to Dak is he would do the tag and hide behind the tag and say, well, I wanted to go sign these guys, but I can't do it. However, $37 million isn't helping this team. And as soon as the tag, and here's the thing about leverage, as soon as Dak gets that tag, his leverage goes up even more. And I don't think, again, I think Steven's at the end of the rope. I think at this point he has to do it. Other key things that we're hearing. Oh, Dak's in the building rehabbing every day. Oh, last year we didn't hear about Fritz and Steven talking prior to the tag. Now we hear, they've had conversations. They've seemed to be going okay. They're morsels, tidbits, little things. But I like morsels and tidbits. It's like Hansel and Gretel. You pick them up and you follow a trail to somewhere. And to me, again, I'm just going to use common sense. The common sense tells me here that it behooves the Cowboys to get the deal done before March 9th. Now, the flip side to that coin when we talk about business is, does Dak want to sign?
Right.
Now, I think that's a fair thing that's not talked about a lot because, hey, if I'm Dak, unless this money really blows me away, I know the next tag is $54 million and I'm free. So I don't think that gets talked about enough, but I think from the Stephen Jones aspect, his hands played. It's over. He's got a cave now. It's a wrap. If you tag him, then you're in trouble. Then you're in serious trouble. And again, these other, we talked about Twitter and, I like how guys, and you were talking about replacements, right? Space replacements. And these people that don't want to get Dak, they say, well, go get Deshaun or go get Russell Wilson. So in effect, you're admitting that Dak is Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson in your head because you're not out here saying, let Dak walk and we'll just go sign Mitchell Trubisky and draft somebody. I've yet to see anybody say that when it talks about letting Dak walk. So, and you're admitting vicariously that he is the same guy. Dak Prescott will get signed because Stephen Jones is out of time. He's played his hand. He's done what he can do. And at this point, they're not going to let him walk out the building. And for everyone to, again, common sense. Everyone's talking about these quarterbacks getting moved around, right, guys? All these quarterbacks get moved. Have you seen really a top-tier quarterback? We hear Russell Wilson noise. Okay. You heard a little bit of that Aaron Rodgers noise. Okay.
Right.
Deshaun Watson, he's got his feet dug in. Okay. Let me know when these top guys actually moves and gets traded. Because Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, and Carson Wentz aren't top-tier guys that got moved. Let's be clear. So at the end of the day, for me, common sense tells me this deal's going to get done. And look, I know I'm kind of in the minority on this a lot, from a lot of the talking heads. But if you looked at Jane Slater's response today, I think he's getting tagged. But in that same tweet, her back door and her out in that tweet was, but there's optimism it'll get done. Look, tidbits, morsels.
And you had to dive in deep to get those tidbits from Jane Slater's tweets because I felt like it was kind of contradicting because at first it was Dak was in-house rehabbing that, there was good signs about the communication lines between Steven and Todd France, but then she was like, her gut feeling is telling that he will be tagged on March 9th. So it's just like, what's really going to go on? Personally, like I said, if I had to put my hard-earned money on it, I would say that he is tagged on March 9th, and we're going to drag this thing out through the summer, unfortunately. So, Rick,
they could. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Rick, let me ask you this. What do you think the actual number is that Dak and Todd France are really pushing for? I know Nick's kind of mentioned is possibly about the guaranteed portion, but not take the clickbait because he wants to pay behind Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Like that was the clickbaity story. Like, after Patrick Mahomes, but above Deshaun Watson, but no one paid attention to that, of course. But where do you think this deal is actually, where's going to be the middle ground where this deal actually can get done by March 9th, hopefully?
So what I think is happening is this is just how negotiations are. You aim high there, and then you're like, oh, well, I can do this. And then you end up getting the number you actually wanted. I know they mentioned it's all about respect and stuff like that. Ultimately, Dak has the ability to claim that he can definitely be the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Because number one, it's how the quarterback market works. Okay. It's not about your ability it is, but you get what I'm saying? It's about what is the set value for that market at the time. Okay. And what I hate is when people would be like trying to say like, oh, Dak isn't worth this. Listen, I cannot believe Jimmy Garoppolo managed in 6 games to get a max extension for like top level money. for just playing 6 games with the team that he was playing. I thought he was getting an extension anyway.
Highest paid quarterback of all time. Highest paid quarterback of all time.
Right. And that's the thing, is that ultimately it's Dak's turn to get his money, and it's not going to matter as much because guess what? People don't understand this. There's going to be new TV deals coming next year or this year, which will explode the cap. So that $40 million a year isn't going to be that much of a detriment to what people might think it is. Now, if you were to ask me what he's looking for average, I think he's looking for anything between 35 to 40 million. So I'll just say 37 and a half. I think that because you had guys like Carson Wentz and Jared Goff get paid already, that immediately gives him a chance to be like, hey, I'm worth more than those guys. So if $33 million is the floor, now you have Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson up there. Right. And if you look at their resumes, or more specifically the younger guys, Dak Prescott's done more than these guys have done.
Right.
Sure, Deshaun Watson has put up better statistics in terms of like where they're at in their careers, but ultimately, if you look at accomplishments, Dak Prescott has the same playoff record as Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, which the Baltimore Ravens are looking to give him an extension too.
Right.
So if I'm the Cowboys,
Josh Allen
as well.
Baker Mayfield, yeah.
So if I'm being completely frank with you, you have to give Dak a blank check, and some people might be saying to themselves, like you might be saying to me, "Oh, why the hell are you saying that? Why would you say that?" No, because are you a Dak fan? No, because ultimately, and like Nick said, it's all about leverage. Dak Prescott has all the leverage in the world, and it even went higher. It's like he already had the leverage going into 2020. The leverage went up when he got hurt because of how the team was. And then you look at what's happening now. He has all the cards in the deck. He can get franchise tag, and he can be like, okay, let's try to get this thing done by July. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sign it. I'm going to play on the season, and you better give me my money. Or I could just walk and go with another team that's willing to go and win, and also willing to pay me the money I deserve. And I understand people might get upset. Oh, Dak's being greedy. I guarantee you, if you were in real life, right? If someone underpaid you on your paycheck by like 20 cents, you would be freaking the hell out and calling everybody. So I want people to understand that it's the same thing in this situation. Sure, it's a lot more money, but Dak Prescott's looking for his due compensation, and I think he's going to get it ultimately.
And it's about market value. A simple analogy. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
No, I'll say, I've been saying this for 2 years now, and I think me and Spaces became best friends. I said, when you have a franchise quarterback, you hand a blank check over and you walk away. That's what it boils down to. But even better than that, if the tag is 37.1, that's your floor right now. That's the floor where you're going to sign. This is where we'll disagree just a smidge. At the very outside of this thing, because remember, it came out last year. The Colts said they were willing to get Dak, and they were willing to pay him $40 million last year. That's out there. That's known last year. Okay, and they paid, and proof was in the pudding because with Rivers and Jacoby Brissett, on their cap was $46 million for 2 quarterbacks. Period. All right. So let's move forward on that. So to me, at the outside of this is why I don't understand all the sticker shock from Cowboys Nation. To me, I always thought it was going to be somewhere between 40 and 42 million. I thought that's where the deal had to fall in place. Okay. Well, if we're going to buy and again, this isn't what France said and I want to be clear about this. This isn't what Todd France said to Jane Slater. She said the guy that they talked to and what they relayed to her was that what France said was right behind Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so let's say you want to shift that from 40-42 to say 42-44, right? We're in that gap. But again, I think what everybody needs to look at is the number 2 guy right now is Deshaun Watson that we've been talking about, right? Deshaun Watson's 39 per year. Okay. Now we also go to number 1 guy, right? Patrick Mahomes, 45 per year, but the 45 doesn't kick in till after next year. So either way, we're talking about a $6 million gap. There's your negotiation. 39 to 45 is your negotiation. Now, and then this is where it gives just a small piece of to Stephen Jones and them. Okay, you want this money. Okay, but we want these years. Okay, you want to be right underneath, right, Patrick Mahomes. Well, I want Patrick Mahomes' length then all of a sudden. And that's the brass tacks that I think will get worked out between now and the 9th.
Yeah, and I agree. And like you've been stating, Nick, I saw what you've been saying on Twitter, and also my guy Law Nation. It's about market value, y'all. Like, I don't think Cowboys fans understand it. And the more that the Cowboys have drugged this thing out, the higher the price has increased.
Exactly.
And I'm like, it's a simple like an investment. Like, like I've been giving the analogy. If you buy a PS5, the retail value is only $500, but you're going to sell it for whatever the market value is going for on eBay. You're not going to sell it for $500 if everyone's selling it for $1,500.
I just got a friend of mine that paid $900 for one.
Exactly.
I just had a friend that paid $900 for
one. Exactly. The price goes up, and so.
And I want to mention, because I got to give a shout out to Joshua Parker in the chat, because he's 100% correct in my chat. He said, we've been having the exact same conversation for the past 2 years, just different numbers each year. He's absolutely right. I vividly remember 2017 going into 2018. It was like 27. It was like Derek Carr level contract. Then we go into the next year. Okay, we're talking about Jimmy G or like Matt Ryan money. Now we're talking about the money we're talking about now. So ultimately, we're playing the same game, just different numbers, and it's only going to keep going up. So, and I hate this because Stephen Jones, this is his sleazy tactic of negotiating. He always, I'm not sure if you guys know who David Moore is.
Oh yeah,
David Moore is basically Stephen Jones just talking through the media. He'll always put some nonsense out there saying like this, that, and a third, like, we're going to reach ahead here and there. Same thing happened with Tank. Same thing happened with Zeke. It always happens. He has something to say about it. Yeah. And I'm telling you, it's just Stephen Jones's way of being like, you know what? I'm going to – oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, all I'm going to say is just listen. Stephen Jones just loves using the media to manipulate manipulate what fans think about these players, and then they call him greedy, this, that, and the third. It took Tank literally holding out for surgery just for him to get him his money.
Yeah. Right. And also the divisiveness that we see amongst Cowboys Nation. We've been chaotic.
One thing, too, that I think is not brought up enough when we talk about this when it comes to Todd France is Todd France left his agency to start his own agency last year. And I don't think this has got brought up enough. So there's a lot of urgency on him. Okay, you had 3 guys play on the tag last year. He did get Ryan Tannehill paid. He got Tannehill paid. But you got Bud Dupree, Justin Simmons, Dak Prescott, all on franchise tags. Well, Dupree and Dak got hurt. Simmons made it all the way through, right? But it's impertinent on him as well, let's be clear, for him to get these guys deals done because it's on him now. He's not with the other organization anymore. He's on his own. And I think that's a slice of the pie or a piece of the puzzle, if you will, that a lot of people aren't really talking about is not only with everything that's going on with Dak or whatever, but the encompassing thing of him being his own agency and things happening now. He has to close the deal. Like it's not if Dak gets tagged again, it's not a good look for France either. And again, this is why we're hearing that Stephen in France or last year, man, it was the Soviet Union, the USA. Boy, it was Cold War. It wasn't nothing on it was frigid. But now you're hearing, Dak's in the building every day. France is up in there. Well, they've had talks because this is one of those times that both sides are very, very motivated to get this thing done much sooner than later. I know in Cowboys Nation, we talk about deadline gets deals done, and Jerry Jones will get out here with his mouthpiece. But when the lights are off, the cockroaches will come out when the lights are on. All that is BS.
Sounds good.
Yeah, all that's BS. These guys, both sides are very motivated to get this thing done. And let's also remember, they basically had a deal done at the deadline. The lawyers ran out of time to actually get it filed to the NFL. Again, I'm just using common sense and what I've seen all the way around of what's going on, which tends to let me believe I'm going to go with common sense. And typically common sense, especially when it comes to business, overrules heartstrings, how you feel, respect, and everything else. And that's where I'm at on it.
So let me ask you guys this, and for you guys just tuning in, this is my guy Rick, man, Space Cowboy. Definitely check out his channel on YouTube, man. Fire content. But let me ask you this, Rick. What do you think the delay has been with the Cowboys when it comes to making a decision with Dak Prescott? Like, why are we still here talking about this again?
Steven. Listen, take the words right out of my mouth. It's Steven. Listen, and this has been an ongoing phenomenon since 2013, and not just with Dak. It's just how the Cowboys have been running throughout free agency. If you recall, the last big free agent that we signed to a long-term deal was Brandon Carr. Now, Brandon Carr kind of bit us in the ass in terms of what you were looking to get out of him, but it wasn't like he was horrific. It was just that you weren't getting that all-star Pro Bowl like production, which we were looking at. And I think now this is the problem. Stephen Jones is trying to act like, oh, I'm going to be New England, this, that, and the third. The problem is that New England knows to pay its players. They went after a guy in Stephon Gilmore. They went after guys. They were aggressive and stuff like that. So they know when to turn the heat up on the stove so that they can get things done, so they can reload and go and win some freaking Super Bowls.
Yeah, Darrell Revis even for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the biggest thing is Steven. Steven loves playing this cap game where he's always trying to be like, oh, we got to be under the cap. Yeah, sure. I completely understand that if you're playing the game right. If he was like, okay, I want to save money so I could spend money, okay, I would completely be behind that. Here's the problem. He's reluctant to play. He's reluctant to pay the guys that he's drafted and earn their next extensions. That's number one. Number two, he never spends money in free agency. It's always Dollar General free agents that have barely done anything to help this team meaningfully. So as a result, you're hoping that your incoming draft class can hold up that end of the bargain. And as a result, that's why Dallas hasn't gone far in the playoffs or has consistently gone to the playoffs, because they're hoping that their draft classes can raise the level that their free agent classes haven't. Yeah. So if I'm Steven, you need to reach into that pocketbook of yours, because guess what? I think Dallas is in the top 5. I think they're top 3 for most unspent cap. And people would be like, oh, cap held this, cap held that. You know what you do? Restructure all those contracts. Let's go sign the guys we need. Go out in the free agency. You got to do that. You can't be doing this, because guess what? Players get older. They're going to get banged up. They're going to end up retiring. And you just caused a situation where your window just closed without you knowing it. So.
Yep, I mean, in space is speaking my language. As I've always said, there's 3 different ways to add talent to your team: draft, trade, free agency. And Stephen Jones, and again, basically has been running this thing. Like, I know everyone wants to keep talking about Jerry this, Jerry that. Be clear, Jerry's a mouthpiece. Since 2013, basically, Jerry gets to talk and he gets involved in draft a little bit, sits on his yacht, whatever. Stephen's running all these things day to day, low key. Let's be honest. And again, if you're just going to completely ignore 1/3 of a way to acquire talent, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball consistently. You know, and it's back to, yes, have we drafted pretty well? Yeah, we've drafted pretty well. Has he made some good trades? Sure. You went and traded for Amari Cooper. That's panned out, right? You went and traded for a Robert Quinn. Okay. And look, he came in here, only played 12 games, got you 12 sacks, and you turned him to a comp pick. Good job. Right. But overall, when you get into free agency and you look, shout out to Scott Walker Still, he put the graphic, right, of the players that the free agents we brought in since 2017 to now. And it's like, Jesus, man, boy, it's it's ugly. And in the 2 key positions, and the one thing that always I bang the table about when it comes to the NFL, you have to be, it's like baseball. Defensively, you have to be strong down the middle. You just have to be. You got to be able to stop the run. Well, guys, we haven't stopped the run in a while. Well, I of course not. The last legitimate defensive tackle, hey, a shout to Jay Ratliff. I'm not dissing Jay Ratliff, but the last legitimate defensive tackle we had was Leroy Glover, guys. Right. Those are facts. When you talk about safety position, Darren Woodson, Roy Williams, yeah, Barry Church was good for a couple of years as an undrafted guy. Didn't draft him, but undrafted guy. He gave us some good time. Then we let him go over to Jacksonville. You know, Wilcox, okay. Heath the GOAT, okay. I mean, we just down the middle of this defense, we just haven't taken care of it. And, you know, we look at this, and this is why I brought up those points. When you look at this free agent class, man, well, there's some one-techs out there, guys. Man, that there's some free safeties out there, guys. Oh, wait, we're picking number 10, right? We're picking number 10. Well, at 10, there's not a super strong defensive tackle or free safety to take it 10, but boy, you can get busy in free agency and do that, you know, and then come to 10 if you want to go corner. You know, I'm seeing Pitts all day if he gets there. You know, if not, go bring me the Joker. Then go bring me the Joker. You know, I mean, but again, it's just that side of Steven that drives you up the wall when it comes. Now, maybe a little, but we could say they brought in better names last year that didn't pan out. Sure. But, you know, again, he's got to get better. Day 1 and day 2, you got to get active. And I don't know if we're going to see that from Steven.
And I said this on the video yesterday that I feel like the Cowboys did take a step forward last year in free agency. At least there was an opportunity to show that they were trying to make a difference, even though it didn't work out in our favor. At least they were a little bit more active than they were usually. So hopefully that's kind of a sign of what's to come forward. So let's go ahead and get into free agency. So who are some guys? And granted, my video that I did yesterday was more Jerry friendly. But Steven, who are some guys that comes to mind that you think could add some depth when it comes to the defensive interior position and also the free safety? Because as you mentioned, Todd France represents Justin Simmons, and they're talking about him setting a record-setting deal. So that's too rich for Steven's blood. So, but who are some other names that's coming to you to mind? Let's let you go.
Real quick, man. And I've said this since January, man. During free agency, I need Jerry Jones in the meat coat on the sideline, kind of swagger approach to free agency. I don't think that's going to happen. The guy that I'm going to circulate, and I'm going to use some common sense here. I think if we get a big signing, I'm going to look at Dan Quinn. What is Dan Quinn? What cloth does he cut from? Front seven, in particularly the defensive line. So for me, if there's going to be a quote unquote big signing or acquisition, I think it's going to be defensive line. Hey, man, if you go bring a Dalvin Tomlinson in here, my goodness, boy, it makes you feel pretty good about what you can do with that 3-tech right there next to him with the balance of Hill and Gallimore, right? But Dalvin Tomlinson, for me, would be the number one. Like the idea that we're going to get two big guys at free safety and D-line, I'm not trying to rewrite the playbook of Steven here. I'm not trying to do that.
It's like your person take you shopping. You can get one. You can get one.
Right. And again, I think the biggest thing here, it's the chicken or the egg. I think if you can fix the front seven, you're a little bit better on the back end. I believe more in the front seven than I do the back end personally. And this front seven has been bad for a while. We go all the way back to the Rams and with C.J. Anderson, Butterball Anderson, his last game he basically ever played, ran damn near 200 yards on us. So for me, I'm like, okay, let's just, if we're going to do anything in free agency, let's work on that. No, we got the news today. I talked about this when Quinn got here. As soon as Quinn got here, I'm like, hey, man, let's move Jalen to the Sam. And this 4-3 under bear scheme. Hey, David Jelkin came out and said, hey, that's the plan with him is to move him to the Sam. I'm like, great. Now that does open up because when you're in that nickel, that's going to be your will, right? Your will and your what you call it. So, that gives the opportunity to maybe go get a linebacker here in free agency. I don't know if that's going to happen. But again, for me, if we're shopping and I can get one guy, let it be something on that defensive line. Whether it's an assassin like Sue, a Dalvin Tomlinson, but let's go if we can go find a 1-tech here, let's go do that here.
Right. Rick, how are you feeling about free agency?
For me personally, I think that I agree with that. You need to definitely beef up that interior because ultimately if you don't, it causes a lot of discrepancies along your entire defense. This is something that happened last year because we didn't have McCoy out there, and Poe was just eating Whataburger all the freaking time and just acting like he was doing something. Right. So
no, wait a minute. I ain't gonna let you disrespect Whataburger. He was eating In-N-Out. He was eating In-N-Out.
In-N-Out burger, right?
Anyways, so for me, I think that Dalvin Tomlinson is the guy I really want. Now, you're asking me who you can get on a budget type of guy. I think Malik Hooker is the guy you can get cheap. I understand that he's had injury issues with the Colts and he hasn't panned out there. But for me, I would definitely take a chance on him, because ultimately I would still draft a safety in this upcoming draft. You get Malik Hooker on a cheap deal, whether it be a 1 or 2 year deal option, however you want to work that out. And if he ends up working out for you, awesome. You got a guy in there that can be a solid safety for you. I don't think Pro Bowl level, but definitely a guy that you just need solid safety play. That's something we haven't had in a long ass time. So if it's up to me, I mean, Marcus May is another guy that's out there. I don't know, but the thing is, price tag, I don't know.
Money.
Yeah, that's the problem. But for me, the biggest thing is that I want a young defensive tackle in this free agent class, like Dalvin Tomlinson, so I can have him for 3 to 4 years while he's in his prime physically, so that I can build around him, and then I can use that draft capital to go get safeties and defensive backs rather than me going after, a guy that's going to cost a lot of money. because ultimately the only kind of guys that I pay that kind of money are the Darrell Reeveses, the Ed Reeds, et cetera, et cetera. If you're not that, I'm not going to pay you that type of money. That doesn't mean I want to pay like a guy like Byron Jones or anything. I don't get it twisted. It's just, for me, you need to be able to prove your worth if I'm going to pay you that kind of money. Now, for Byron, the problem with him was that he just, and I don't want to use this age-old argument he couldn't get in, because listen, he was an integral part of the defense. He shut down the side of the field, which is huge. And for me, this is just my personal preference. I want corners that can be overall playmakers if I'm going to pay you $15 million. But if you do a damn good job at shutting down the side of the field, I don't give a damn if you don't get interceptions. But still, I'll hold consistent there in that you should be able to get a couple turnovers or make your team force turnovers. But overall, I think you need an interior defensive lineman. There isn't a guy at 10 that you can take that can instantly be like, okay, he's your guy. And also, if you get a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson, you can help Neville Gallimore not have to be rushed into the limelight and be like, I need you to be my starting defensive tackle, even though he had flashes. So I would also bring back Gerald McCoy like on a cheaper deal as for veteran presence. But overall, I think that Dallas has the ability to get some quality guys.
Yeah, and I agree. I would think I would start with Dalvin Tomlinson. And granted, I would like to have Justin Simmons. That would be the cherry on the top, but I don't think that's going to be suitable need. But I feel like Dalvin Tomlinson would solidify and stop in the run game, because we got to think about it. That was the thing that our defense really struggled with, was stopping the run this entire season. And
3 years. 3 years.
3 years. Even going back to that Rams game in the playoffs, it's like stopping the run has been our crutch for so long, y'all. And once you're not able to stop the run, it really keeps your defense off balance, and that opens up so much. So get a Dalvin Tomlinson, but also, like I mentioned yesterday, was the possibility of maybe bringing in a KJ Wright to add linebacker depth, just as Nick's been saying. That front seven, man, is critical, and then you can get some additional pieces when it comes to the secondary. Because like I've been saying, I don't think the secondary, as far as cornerback wise, is really a drastic issue as far as compared to the front seven getting a defensive tackle and also linebacker depth. We do need a free safety though, but cornerbacks I'm okay with.
And especially if you bring back Cheeto on a 1-2 year deal, because everyone wants to bag on Cheeto. Cheeto's a starting cornerback in this league. He's a starting cornerback. He's a starting cornerback. What's going on, DMV? He's a starting cornerback in this league. If you bring back Cheeto, and this has been, kind of me and Tuck's kind of argument here, Space, and all. Let me get your take on this. And I want to grab this question from Stephen Keever, because there's a guy available down there in New Orleans. We'll get there. But if you're rolling with Diggs and you bring back Cheeto, is corner at 10 really the big? Is that where we need to go then all of a sudden? Because where's the impact then? I'm sorry. My bad. You didn't give me the rundown.
So look, I'm going to be I'm not going to spoil who I want at 10 yet. If you've been following me, you know who I want. But for me, when it comes to Cheeto, I want him back. I think you cannot repeat the same mistake you did last year in letting Byron walk. I think, and that's the problem, is that I don't have a problem if you let a guy go. You just need to have a plan in place to replace him, which we didn't have. That's the problem. And also the way they bungled it last year was terrible. The way, they let everyone in the open market. But in all seriousness, though, there's a guy in my chat, Adrian, with the $2 holler. He says, do we sign Kyle Van Noy, who just got released by Miami? I would like to have him, most definitely, if he's for the right price. I'm not going to pay him the money that he was getting, because ultimately I'm already paying guys a lot, and I'm not going to throw more money at my linebacking position, especially if I'm paying Jalen, which, a good note, as much as Jalen Smith gets on my damn nerves sometimes, they're moving him to Sam where he should be. That's exactly. And if you could put him there, fantastic. No problem. And I want to just a little quick add on to that. A lot of people have been like, oh, well, why the hell are you getting mad at Jalen? The problem is he hasn't been doing well with what we've been asking him to do for the price tag. In 2018, that 2018 Jalen most definitely deserved that money. No question about that. Yep. So I want him to do well, and I hope that he does do well with this new position. Now, in terms of cornerback going further, you can get a couple guys in free agency. I think the biggest thing is, if it were up to me, you can let Jordan walk so that you can ensure that you bring back Cheeto. Yeah. If you can bring back Jordan on a cheaper deal, cool, because now you don't got to worry about, oh, my God, I got to get this guy. Because there are guys that I can go into the draft and get to replace Jordan's value.
Right.
You know, and I'm not trying to say that he's a scrub. I don't want to insinuate that. I think he can be solid at times. But the thing that killed it for me was his immaturity on the football field, especially in that last game. And I don't want recency bias to get it out of the way. He is a playmaker. But the problem is that, dude, if you're going to start doing this now, I don't know. But ultimately – go ahead.
If we're talking free agency, then let me ask the question. To curve away from the draft, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. My bad. My bad. You know, and this is one thing, and the reason why I ask this because Space is here. I know me and you have talked about it before. Mm-hmm. I just look at this, you know, and you know, the Cowboys to me, in a lot of ways, when we talk about this free agency, this draft, and this philosophy, it's like we plug the dam and we're just waiting for something to happen. Right. At a certain point, when is Stephen Jones going to actually I'm gonna start calling him just Steve. I want to get the PH out of here. I'm just gonna call him Steve. When is Steve Jones going to take all the chips and push them in the middle? So you know what? This is it. We're going for it. We're not going to sit back and hope everything works in our favor. We're just going to go for it. And the thing that would signal that to me is because we already know they can a couple of pin strokes, then get to 80 million, right? And if you sign Dak now, his cap number is probably going to be around 35. If you sign into a long-term deal, maybe even a little bit less, but for sure 35, right? When are you going to just say, you know what, salary cap be damned, forget this number 1 jersey that I got with cap system, push the chips in and let's go all the way in? Because, and the reason I bring this up, it's things have lined up here, free agency, okay? Mm-hmm. Like for what we need, there are special players at those 2 key positions that we have not addressed in the draft that the draft can't really help us at number 10. So why not go all in? Hey, Todd France, give us a double dip. You know, would that work that way? Of course not. Of course not. I understand it. But if you're able to go get, okay, you know what? We're bringing Dalvin Thompson and Justice Simmons in here. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to sit here and draft BPA throughout this thing. And we're going to turn this thing up and get rolling, you know. And I just wonder, you know, at what point are these guys really in free agency? You know, Tuck, you said it, you know, they a little different tone in free agency last year. It didn't pan out, you know, but hey, look, I guarantee you, every single one of us say, "Oh, damn, we got Everson Griffin on the other side." Right. We were all excited. We were all excited about Everson Griffin. Right. Yeah. You know, until Baker Mayfield blocked him 1-on-1, and we're like, "Oh man, get this guy out of here." But I mean, again, when do you think this year? Do you think if they get the deal done? Do you think Space like?
Let me answer this question, and I'm trying not to. Well, first I gotta give a shout out to Adrian. Because he mentions by 2023 it should be over $300 million in cap, which, yes, the numbers do point to that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Steven would rather quit his job or make Jerry sell the team before he even bothers doing a maneuver like that. Right. You got to understand that Steven has been like this his entire time with the team. If you recall, and I mentioned this on a video of mine, in the 1995 America's Game documentary, when they were going after Deion Sanders, which was a huge power move, which they needed to do if they really wanted to go for the Super Bowl. That's the fact of the matter. That's true because it was addition by subtraction. Right. Okay, because you're making one power weaker and you're making yourself stronger. Right. Steven didn't want to bring in Deion because it would ruin the cap. So he's been like this his entire life, and he's neutered his father into thinking that this is the best way to win. Sure, we've had the best of both worlds, or the worst of the worst worlds, where you have Jerry, who's extremely aggressive, and Steven, who's extremely conservative. And the fact is that Steven, he's, as much as we thought of him as a light at the end of the tunnel, he's just that train that's coming down, getting ready to hit us. Yeah. And I want to add one more thing because I've been listening to some people that are insiders, and I actually had to do my own research. I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but after that 2018 Rams loss, Jerry was ready to kick Jason to the curb. He was ready to fire him. He was piss-faced drunk, ready to kick him off the curb. He was pissed. Steven talked him out of it. Because Steven and Jason are like that. So that goes to show you Steven is that, and I'm not trying to listen. Jerry makes mistakes too. I'm not trying to say Jerry's fully out of the woods, but we need to understand that Steven Jones, he's the guy that's running the ship, and he's basically the captain of the Titanic, who has a straight going towards that iceberg rather than So we need to understand that's what we're playing with right now. The fact is that Steven is not the savior. What's this? Us Cowboys fans have come to terms with the Cowboys. Jerry just don't care about right, and that's what I've said on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, with me, I've always said the Dallas Cowboys are the country club of the NFL. They do not give a damn about winning until they prove it to me.
Right,
and they only care about the bottom dollar. The final product, whatever they got to put out there. I'm really young. I'm 22 going on 23 years old this year. So this is what I've been acclimated to. And I can tell you, to be completely honest with you, if they F up this Dak situation or they continue this up, people my age are not going to be as loyal to the star. And I'm not saying that's myself, but I need people to understand that, listen, young people, like my mother, she was there to watch the whole dynasty and stuff. Right. I wasn't there. I've only seen 3 playoff wins in my entire life. Right. Okay. We're getting sick and tired. So Jerry and Steven better not mess around, or a lot of us are going to go ahead and go elsewhere where people care about winning. So to end, I hate to go on and on and on.
I know, but that's
no. You're good. Oh, no, you're good.
We said that numerous times, man, because going back to Tom Landry
I wanted to paint the picture of who is in charge of this team. And of course, there are other things that are going on outside the team that have been irritating me. I won't go into that. But overall, Steven is going to handicap this team into hell. We are on the verge, if we aren't already, of being the New York Knicks of the NFL, a massive brand that has seen no real success in the 21st century. And I hate to say it, but the truth hurts sometimes, and that's the truth.
No, I mean, I've said it on multiple occasions during this offseason, starting in January. I put the tweets out there. I've been around long enough. I'm old enough to watch this thing, and I watched. There's a lot of Saints fans that were former Cowboys fans, and they picked up and moved whenever Jerry got on and he fired Landry. And I said the same thing. I said at the end of the day, the way that they're going to handle this Dak Prescott, to get back to this common sense, why I think it's going to get done. If they don't handle the Dak situation properly, they will lose a large influx of fans again, because as Space, his age and his group and what they went through, hey man, they don't need a ride for this. Hey, look, on top of their age group, if you peek over the valley of the NBA, it's about following players over there.
Right.
Hey, okay, I don't really need to be valued to a team. I'll just follow a player, and whatever the case is. And I think the Cowboys as a brand are very much so. And again, back to my common sense side of things, where I think it'll get done, but they are teetering with this idea of a fracture of the group that happened back in 89, whenever they bought the Cowboys and they fired Tom Landry. I mean, I think this is kind of the same kind of setup here in 21 with Dak Prescott. I absolutely unequivocally agree. It's almost like he read my tweets. We never met each other before tonight, but he's absolutely right. And I full-heartedly, and I definitely I full-heartedly believe that.
Well, and then look, I'm going to just be completely honest with you. Like, people will look at people like me or my age group and be like, how can you do that? You weren't a true Cowboys fan in the first place. I'm going to tell you, dude, you need to be very educated on what's going on to really make a decision of being like, I'm changing colors. Because ultimately, it's irritating, especially it's even more irritating when you think about how you've been in this process of, we just need this, and then we're good. And then the problem is now we've been hearing the same crap. We need the right guys. We got the right guys. We like our guys. I honestly don't care, because your guys suck. Dude, I'm sorry, but they're trash. You need to go in. And you look at a team like the Buccaneers. Okay, the Buccaneers have drafted very well since 2014, since they got their new general manager. Problem was they weren't really making that good of free agency acquisitions, and also they just didn't have the right quarterback. Guess what happened? They got the right quarterback. They got some offensive line protection. They made sure they beefed up that defense. Yes, they had a great draft, built up that defense, and in 1 year, they surpassed what the Cowboys have done in 25 years.
Right, just that.
So don't make it seem like, we need to wait. No, you can easily go. And I'm not trying to say that it's that simple. Obviously, it takes luck. It takes there's a ton of factors to go into it. But it starts now. If you do not do well in free agency, which unfortunately I'm predicting, I think they're going to go bargain basement shopping again, and they're going to F it up. You're screwed because I've already predicted, listen, they don't do anything in free agency. Even if they drive supremely well like they did last year, this team is not going anywhere. Listen, the division is theirs as long as Dak's playing and he's healthy.
Right.
Right.
So
and that's what I was saying the other day on Twitter. I was like, Cowboys fans have to understand what we went through last year. I understand it was a frustrating season, but we're not that far away as people want to make it seem. All it takes is to get us healthy, bring in a few free agents, as my guy Rick just mentioned, and draft well. We'll be right back in the thick of things. But I feel like for some reason, these Cowboys fans have gotten to this idea where they feel like we have to fully blow things up and start over and cap space.
They're just sorry, I'm just gonna call it space. They've been brainwashed since 2013 into believing that we need as much cap space as possible so that we could do yada yada yada.
Brainwashed.
And my whole thing is this, okay? If you Cowboys fans want to seriously
be right back.
Right. Oh, we're good. Keep going.
Okay, listen. If you are a Cowboys fan and you seriously think that Dak isn't the guy, I'm sorry. If he ends up winning a championship with this team or elsewhere, you can seriously go screw off. Just fuck around and I'm sorry, just excuse my French, but fuck around and find out. I'm sorry. Like that. I'm not here to listen to the BS of Dak can only do this and Dak can only do that. If you honestly think that you can get someone to replace his production, I swear to God, if he goes and wins a Super Bowl somewhere else, you're going to look like a complete ass. Just saying.
Right. Because what people have to understand is, let's say, for instance, if Dak was to go to, not the Colts anymore, but that was one of the.
Let's just say the Bears. Say the Bears.
Right. And they go to an NFC Championship game or just get a Super Bowl appearance. You know how stupid a lot of Cowboys fans are going to be looking, because you add Dak Prescott along with some of that defense that they have there in Chicago, and he's able to play in more meaningful games than he's playing currently in Dallas. We're going to look like idiots, man. And like I said, we're not that far removed. I know that people want to say that Dak Prescott was 1-4 when he went down, but understand, why were we even in a lot of those ball games to begin with?
But we wasn't 1-4.
We wasn't 1-4.
But we wasn't 1-4.
ESPN said that we were down. We were down.
But we wasn't 1-4.
And Kenny Dalton came in and won the game.
We were winning whenever Dak got hurt in the Giants game.
Look, I need to say this really quickly, because this is extremely important. If you look back at every single one of those games, if that defense gets a single stop, Cowboys are either 5-0 or 4-1 before he gets hurt. Okay, we were leading in two of the. No, I think three of those games we were leading. Four. Four of those games we were leading. We were on, until one, we were until the very end, but that's besides the point. Right. So there's that. More importantly, if you want to, like we just mentioned, if that goes, let's say, to Chicago, which I believe they're a quarterback away from really doing some real important stuff.
Right.
If he goes over there, like you said, and hell, if he goes to an NFC Championship game or goddamn wins a Super Bowl, we're gonna look. You Cowboys fans are that think that we could just replace that are going to look like a complete bunch of morons. And I'm just going to say this straight up, whether it be on my channel here, and I'm going to just say now, whether you like it or don't like it, if Dak resigns and this man wins us a championship, I don't want to see you celebrating.
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't care. Listen, I do not care if it hurts your feelings or you feel offended from what I said. I don't give a shit. Don't be celebrating when this man wins us a championship.
Here's the problem, too, is we all suffer from Tom Brady exhaustion.
Right.
It's changed the narrative because before he came in with New England, those are facts. Thank you, Dak.
Thank you, Dak.
It's always goalpost moving. Yeah. But look, we're living in a time where we're witnessing something that'll never happen again.
Right.
It just won't. It was in a bottle. Hey, look, you talk about Tom Brady going down there. On top of all the different things that they had down there, they added Antonio Brown. They added a Rob Gronkowski even to that already roster. They had a guy that threw right. That Leonard Fournette even where they had already had a quarterback who threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touches. Albeit he had 30 interceptions. Neither here nor there. But we're saying in general. So he got to pick and choose. Like, you're not going to see another quarterback go to 10 in our lifetimes. I promise you, anybody watching this will never see another quarterback go to 10 Super Bowls and win 7 of them. It's just not going to happen. It is what it is. So, but as Cowboys Nation, we're a very entitled group, especially as old heads. And some of y'all young heads got brought in with this entitlement that your parents or whoever brought you in with. And it's not that way. It's just not that way. We can say, oh, well, we haven't been to championship games and this, that. I get all that. It's hard. There's 31 losers every year, only one winner. Yeah, have we finished in the top 4? No, we haven't. It super sucks. Could we have a couple of times? Sure. It's not enough. Again, until Stephen Jones pushes, until the Cowboys organization pushes the chips all the way into the middle and gets busy in free agency, man, we're going to talk in circles about this thing. No matter who we sign, who we draft, who we bring back in the entire skit of this thing, if you're not able to bring in difference makers in free agency, I'm not saying to go be the number one guy spending because the Jets, I think, are number one. I'm not saying to go do that, but go get guys, not old guys, but guys that have their best football ahead of them. Give them the right kind of contract to contribute to this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Man, it's just going to be continuously the same thing. One of the stats I always bring up since 2018, we are the only team, right, that hasn't been able to win a game scoring less than 30 points. Over 30 points that we score, man, we're like 14-2.
Right.
But under 30, my goodness. I mean, and it's just like, bro, the defense gets paid too. It's okay.
I just gotta give
doesn't play defense.
Just gotta give some quick shout outs. Dallas Cowboy fan 1980 with the $2 holla. Great show, guys. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
1980. Great. Hopefully everything's A-okay down in Texas. And Joe Rod from Cowboys Blog, good work. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate the $5.
$5 holla.
Yeah, $5 holla. Listen, I'm telling you, man. You know, this is a fun stat because when Dan Quinn, when he was the head coach of the Falcons, if you really look at that defense, you might say, they may be in the teens. That defense was in the 20s. I'm telling you, give Dak Prescott a defense that's 20th or better.
Right. That's all I need.
Ooh, we're going to be beautiful.
That's all I need. That's all I need. So we don't want to keep you guys all night. Like I said, we're not going to go 6 hours, but I want to transition quickly.
We'll go an hour and a half.
Quickly into draft talk. So, you know, I know, Rick, you kind of said you're going to hold off on your draft take. So let's hear it, man. Dallas Cowboys are selecting at the 10th spot. What do you think that the Cowboys are going to do? And what do you think that you would do if you were placing the card and making the draft pick?
So
let's see if you're on board.
Okay. So first things first, if you were to tell me who I think the Cowboys will select, I think it's going to be one of two players. I think it's going to be either Micah Parsons or Patrick Surtain. Okay.
Yep.
Now, would I like? Now, listen, I'm a Penn State fan, huge Penn State fan. I love Micah Parsons. He's a fantastic athlete. Off the field issues, though, are a huge problem, and I want to take him with the 10th pick. If we were down lower, maybe, but that's too much for that linebacking.
Now, Jerry would like off the field problems, but Steven, not so.
Now, here's the thing. If you were now, based off of the mock drafts that I've been doing, I'll go with this answer. If you were to tell me who I wanted to pick at pick 10, it's Rashawn Slater, the tackle out of Northwestern. Now, I'll explain myself. Now, if there's a defensive play, if Caleb Farley's there, absolutely. Or J.C. Horn. Well, he'll be there. But I want to make sure I'm playing the draft game right, so I would trade down and get him because I think some people aren't looking at him as – I like him a lot, though.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
If there's not a quarterback at 10, can the Cowboys still trade down?
Yes. It depends on who's on the board ultimately.
Right.
I think that
the quarterback for sure we can, and then it wonders, you know.
I think that there's going to be a receiver that drops to 10.
Okay, I agree.
So I think that Chase will go in the top 10 before our pick. As for Devonta Smith, I don't know. I think that the only team that I can realistically see him go to, based off of the other team's needs, is probably Philadelphia. But knowing them, that's what I feel like they would do. But I doubt it. But ultimately, if Devontae Smith is there at 10, I guarantee you someone's going to want to trade up. This happened to us last year when CeeDee Lamb was there. People wanted to trade up. Now, let's throw that out of the way.
Right.
The reason why I want to take Rashawn Slater at 10, it gives you a ton of flexibility on this offensive line. Why? You shore up that left guard position because guess what? You can kick him into left guard and you can give him some, time to get acclimated to the NFL. And also it gives you insurance for when Tyron retires or if Lyle has a fall off. We know that Tyron, we don't know what's going to happen with him.
Right.
And ultimately, I know that Slater is going to be a fantastic addition to whoever gets him. To whoever's offensive line, he's going to be great. So, if you get him, I don't know his birthday. I've been looking for. So he's 21, 22. Even if he was 23 years old. You have a guy left tackle who's going to be 30. You would have a left guard that's between 21 and 23. You have a center that's going to be 23, 24. A right guard that's 30, but still doing his damn thing. And a right tackle who's doing a fantastic job so long as that hip thing doesn't bother him.
Right.
And he's 27, 28. So let's say Tyron retires. You have a situation now where you have a 23-year-old or 22, whatever age, let's just say still 21 to 23-year-old at left tackle. Then at left guard, you still have Connor McGovern under contract for one more year after that year, after 2020 or 2021, excuse me. So now you have a guy that's like 24 years old. Center's a 24, 25-year-old. You get the point. The point is that you make this offensive line a lot younger, or you solve your issue at left guard. Left guard's been a problem. Connor Williams, I feel is more suited to play tackle in this league. Right. I'm sorry, the body is not there to play guard. Connor McGovern, when we selected him, I was happy as hell because seeing him at Penn State, I think he's definitely a guard. If you really wanted him to play center, you definitely could make him play center, but I feel like he's more of a guard. Right. So to finish up my whole thing, I think that by taking Rashawn Slater, you have a 5-year investment on your offensive line. So even if it's 2 years down the line and one of your guys ends up walking or retiring or whatever the hell you got to do with him, you have that insurance. And also with the experience he gets, you're going to have a talented lineman that you can build off of, and you don't have to be screwed or caught with your pants down when one of those guys ends up falling off.
So are you going to trade Connor Williams in that case then?
I wouldn't trade Connor because he would be in the final year of his deal after 2020. Right. I think. I believe so.
Yeah, so last year. Yeah, last year was.
Well, no, I want him to be my backup swing tackle.
Okay.
So
you're going to bench him. Okay.
Well, yeah, Nick, I mean, for sure. I'm on the Pitts train. Whether he falls to us or not, I don't know. If Pitts falls to us, I'm running. I'm running to the table to go get Pitts.
Well, let me hear take Rick on that.
Okay. Well, it really comes down to this. I think that Kyle Pitts is a generational talent at the tight end position. I'm not going to fret that. Okay. I don't want to make it seem like I hate the guy. I'm not trying to say that he's absolutely. I would love him in a Cowboys uniform. My problem is this: you got Blake Jarwin under contract for the next couple seasons, right? Mm-hmm. And again, we're looking about this in a 5-year investment. If Blake Jarwin, if we didn't have a tight end lined up, you have that argument for me there. And I'm not trying to. But my problem is that I feel like I can use that 10th pick a little bit more than just the tight end. And I get it. You're strengthening your strength. You're making your offense more powerful by adding Kyle Pitts. And I completely understand that specific. And I'd like for you to explain it to me once I'm finished.
Go ahead.
Would I be pissed if we took Kyle Pitts? I would be. It depends on who's on the board ultimately. If literally everyone that I like is not on the board and you don't have a trade partner, I can maybe see it. But still, I'm a bit apprehensive to that because ultimately I feel like you can do much more than that. But if he's there and there's literally no one there, okay, he's best player available. Cool. Now you got to tight end. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do with Blake now.
Okay.
You got to figure out. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I got you. And here's the thing. And actually, I had to make. I'm sorry, Tuck, that you had to watch Rashawn Slater tape at 3:00 in the morning. I brought him up on the show because I'm a guy. I like Slater a lot. I do. For me, the reason why I'm going to use some of the same things you talked about, these tackles and everything else. I'm using the same thing with you when it comes to Pitts because, hey man, I'm a Jarwin guy. Jaws gang in the building. Guess what? I haven't seen it on the field. I'm just keeping it a buck. He's supposed to be here. Then old boy came. Then Witten came back and whatever. Then it's his turn. Then he's hurt again. He tore the knee off and everything else. Again, I think Pitts comes in. He's a day one starter. One, okay. Two, what is the one thing that hurts the Cowboys the most offensively? Red zone. We can't score points in the red zone. Pitts automatically helps the red zone, even more so than Jarwin, in my opinion. So, again, I'm strengthening this offense even more. Now, a lot of people will say, well, look what Dalton Schultz did. Oh, Dalton Schultz. Here's what happened with Dalton Schultz last year. We thought he was a bum. We're like, oh, well, Schultz is not that bad.
He's decent.
But he gave us the same exact stats that Jason Witten gave us in 2019, and we said Jason Witten was a bum. So, miss me with the Schultz thing. Again, he's going to be the BPA. Look, forget what I'm talking about. Say your guy Nix is crazy. Right now, on everybody else's board that everybody wants to go follow, look, and listen. Hey, PFF actually put him number 3 today. There's the two quarterbacks, and he's number 3. If I'm sitting at 10 and the number 3 guy's sitting there, I'm taking him because he changes this offense. He adds to what we can do. And when it comes to the NFL, and the thing that I always talk about and preach about when it comes to offense, it's not about outside the hashes. It's in the middle of the field. Go back to Kansas City, right? 70% of their passes are in between the hashes. They are. That's where it's at. Like 2 years ago, Patrick Mahomes had less than 100 attempts outside the hash marks. He's a matchup nightmare for teams. Okay, so what are you going to do? Right. Okay, what are you going to do? Oh, let's say I'm in a 2 wide receiver lineup or 3 wide receiver lineup with Pitts on the end, and I got Zeke. Boy, Zeke's going to get a lot. All of a sudden, people are going to be like, damn, Zeke's back to being Zeke. It's crazy how those things work. So to me, the guy that's going to help this team the most at 10, right? And look, and if we're going to eating and running the ball and doing things we talked about before, because Pitts is here, is keeping the defense off the field. Pitts helps both sides of the ball. And then once we're in that very tight zone, forget the 20 in. I'm going to talk about the 10 in. Boy, Pitts becomes a huge weapon 10 in. So to me, Pitts over everybody for me. I've been Pitts game since January. I'm going to stay running that trade now. I do have other guys I'll take it 10. Look. Hey, I got other guys. Look, I like your guy. You know what? I've softened my blow. I was kind of all the way out on Parsons. I think I'm going to soften my blow a little bit about the off the field stuff because I think if it really mattered, I think we would hear more about it. You know how social media works these days. And we just, it hasn't really became a bugaboo, if you will. It just hasn't. Now, I read the transcripts and the syndics, some of the comments and pulling the I've read it. But again, it hasn't blown up. So to me, I'm like, maybe it's much more to do about nothing. I don't know. But I like Parsons. But to me, I'm a Joker guy over Parsons, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think he's a weapon. And if you're moving Jalen to the Sam, oh, hello, Joker's in play now. And I can do what can I not do in here? Everybody loved Isaiah Simmons coming out of Clemson last year. Joker's a better Isaiah Simmons. Keep it a buck. That's what he is. So there's that. Now, look, if I got to stick and pick at cornerback, man, bring me J.C. Horn. If it's just going to be cornerback, I think J.C. Horn, for what the Dan Quinn scheme does, I think he's the guy. However, at the very end of the day, if you go get me a Slater, and the reason why I'm off of offensive line right now at 10 is because I'm going to get my guy Liam out of Notre Dame. Notre Dame does nothing but pump offensive lineman in here, right? So I think I can go get that guy down there. It depends how the board falls because you're taking a risk for sure. But, I mean, if the pick was Slater, I'm not going to be unequivocally mad because I think the trenches is where you win. Right. Offensive line, defensive line is where that is winning football. So I'm not going to be mad at that. But I think Pitt's generational guy, I'm going to say the generational cap off of him because I think generational gets thrown around way too much. But I think what Pitts can bring to this team is something that we haven't seen here in a very, very long time.
Right. And I before Tuck goes, I just want to respond to that. Look, I would say, I don't throw generational out a ton.
Yeah.
I've only said that for Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts. and Trevor Lawrence. I rarely mention that, and I'm not saying that's what you were insinuating at all. But I just want to say, like, it's rare when you see a guy like him come out. Now, when it comes to making Kyle Pitts work here, I'm relying on the Cowboys to do a ton of things that I would do if I was the general manager, because ultimately I don't trust them to do that. So I don't want to make it seem like, I'm the sake. Here's the thing. I believe you can make Kyle Pitts work if you do this. If you go into free agency and you go get me a defensive tackle, let's say we get let's say we get Dalvin Tomlinson. Let's say we get him. Cool. Yep. Awesome. Maybe you go get a linebacker here and there. You get some pieces. You don't really fix the issues, but you get the pieces, right? Okay, so now, cool. You go at 10, and if you take him, which he'll probably be there at 10 unless someone takes him beforehand.
Got to watch Carolina.
I think Carolina will probably take him. That's why I don't know if he makes it to 10. If he gets there to 10 and you take him, I'm shopping Michael Gallup immediately. Right. The reason why
go ahead. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
The reason why I'm shopping him is because if you let him walk, odds are you're going to get a 3rd and 4th round comp pick. If I trade him for a pick now or a player, I'm getting something. I'm getting my return on investment, hopefully, if that works out, and I can go draft a guy to replace him. And again, I love Gallup. Don't get me wrong. I want to use the most I can out of him in his last year of his contract. My thing is if I can go get another receiver that can be nearly as productive, that is possible. There are guys that I think can be just as productive as Michael Gallup. I don't want people there are a bunch of people that are like, oh, Michael Gallup is irreplaceable. No, he is. He is replaceable. You just got to look at who's available. So my thing is, if you move him, let's say you get a 2nd or 3rd round pick for him. Let's just say a 2nd. I can go get another defensive player. I can use my 3rd round pick on a receiver, and bam, I got my return on investment there. Now I got Cooper, I got Lamb, and now I got Pitts. Now there's more ball to go around. And also, let's think about it. You had Cedric Wilson as your wide receiver 4, and he showed flashes if he can do something. Same thing with Noah Brown. So I think ultimately, can you make it work? Yes. Do I trust the Cowboys to do it? Absolutely not. So sorry about that talk. By all means.
No, go ahead. But you're good. But my thing is, I'm not trading nobody. I'm loading all the way up because who are we trying? At the end of the day, I'm not looking at the NFC. Who can I go beat? I got to go beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, if Gallup's going to give me a 3rd round comp pick, man, you got to give me something really good. Look, I'm not trading Gallup for a 2nd round defensive pick. I'm just not. Like, if you want to give me look, if I go get a piece, hey, Jets, y'all want to give me Quentin Williams for him? Sure. Yeah, I'll make that move. But outside of that, man, I am all about loading up for 1-year run with Gallup. I mean, it's fine because guess what? Once Gallup leaves, I get that 3rd round compensatory pick. I can take that, trade that, do whatever I want to do with it. And I'm still with Lamb. I'm still with Amari. I'm still with Pitts and Jarwin. So for me, it's all about loading up for the 21 run. And look, hey, good luck. Hey, look, I'm in a 3 wide receiver set. Right? I'm in a 3. Look, Lamb or Amari's in the slot. Right. Hey, Gallup's over on the outside. We got Pitts right here on the end, and I got Zeke in the backfield. Pick your poison, because guess what? If I'm playing the Tampa Bay Bucks and they want to play that 4-man front deep 2 shell, we won't get caught. No. We won't get caught like Kansas City. No. Oh, y'all want to do that? Bet. Hey, Zeke.
Right.
Hey, Zeke. And then when y'all come down, good luck on any of these weapons that I have. Now, next year, I'll worry about next year when I worry about next year. But I think the NFL, here's the thing that I also believe. I think the NFL is very much so is we're a copycat league is what we are, right? People have been trying to copy what and low-key, this is why I think the Patriots have won for so long. You try to copy what the Patriots are doing, but you didn't have Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, baby. Right. It is what it is. So now it's pivoted to, well, what is Kansas City doing? Right. And then let me copy and do that. Hey, look, I'm all about loading up for 1 year because, look, guys, we're just looking for number 6. We'll figure the rest out. Let's load up and go forward and go from there. And then we'll figure out what the fallout and everything else next year. And I think a lot of the league is that now about loading up for 1 year and figuring it out. And then guess what? As a general manager, if I win the Super Bowl, I've saved myself anyways. We'll figure it out on the back end. And
also defense doesn't win championships as much anymore as it – like I don't want to make it seem like I'm fully throwing that to the curb. Right. Hear me out. If you look at what happened in that Super Bowl, Tom Brady and that offense – was putting up points, that defense was making key stops. I'm not trying to fret on that defense for Tampa Bay.
Right.
They did a fantastic job, and they absolutely deserve that credit. I'm not saying you disregard defense. Absolutely not.
Right.
Now you get the Dallas Cowboys of 2020.
Right.
Yeah,
fully throw
however, if you watch Kansas City's run in 2019, what did they do? They won against the best defense in the NFL that year because they had an offense that could turn it on when they needed to.
Yep.
They were trailing by 10 points in each one of those games.
Entire run.
Go ahead.
Their entire Super Bowl run, they were playing from behind.
And my last point is the final 4 teams this year. Here's my out on offensive line at 10. The final 4 teams this year, between all 4 teams, only had 2 offensive lineman picks in the first round. Thanks. Look it up. Better ask about me.
Yeah. And like I said, you guys know that I'm all on the train with Knicks, man, with drafting Kyle Pitts. But I'll say if I do have to go defense, my defensive pick would be J.C. Horn at the cornerback position. So I just feel like he brings a new dimension when it comes to our defense, especially the cornerback position. And as Nick's mentioned, man, he fits that Dan Quinn scheme. So, and I also feel like when it comes to these cornerbacks, though, there's a lot of depth in this draft, but also with the offensive tackle position. So we can get a lot of things later. So that's why I'm team Pitts, man. BPA, if you're able to get a player that caliber or maybe do a trade back, and then it makes sense to draft J.C. Horn, because I feel like J.C. Horn at 10 doesn't really make sense. J.C. Horn at 16, 17-ish makes a lot of sense. So, I'm team Pitts, but if not, trade back to get J.C. Horn. But if he were to add a Slater, I personally don't think the Cowboys are ready to move on from Connor Williams. I feel like he's going to be solidified, especially coming into next season. So where you're going to really plug him in? Will they allow Slater to really beat Connor Williams out? I highly doubt it. So, I think Connor Williams will be back next year. I think his job is safe at least for one more year. So I don't think the Cowboys will reach at 10 for an offensive tackle. But offensive lineman typically does say, the Dallas Cowboys. But last year we didn't think that the Cowboys were going to go BPA, and they all shocked us all. So
the one thing I will say this: the one thing about Slater, when I turn his tape on, there are certain players that I like, certain players I don't like, and there's certain players when I look at their tape, it says 10-year starter. And when it comes to Rashawn Slater, man, when I turn on this tape, it's a 10-year starter. I don't care if it's talking about guard, I don't care if it's talking about tackle. The one thing I will say about Slater is this: to me, automatically, it's a 10-year starter. I do believe that about Slater for sure.
And I'm going to say this too. There have been possible talk. Now, I doubt this is going to happen, but there's a possibility where Slater might go before Penei Sewell. And I'm going to say this right here, right now. If he is on the board, I am taking that card and I'm going in. He is a I hate saying that.
So which one is your one? Penei Sewell over Slater?
Oh, Sewell. Yeah, Sewell easily. He's probably the best prospect that I've seen through expert opinion and as well as just my own research. He's probably the best prospect since Orlando Pace coming out of the draft. And I don't mean that like jokingly or like hyperbolically.
I will say Dan Brugler has him. It said if Sewell was in last year's draft, he'd be his 4th offensive tackle. That's what he said. For what it's worth, I'm with you though, Cowboy. Space, I'm with you. I think Sewell is bar none, far and away the prototypical A1. You plug him in at left tackle. Hey, as long as he stays injury free, he's your left tackle. Hey, maybe for 12 years, maybe for 12 even. I agree with you. I think. I mean, now if we get to 10, it's Sewell and Pitts. It's an interesting conversation. It's a very interesting conversation then.
I see a lot of people mentioning safeties. If you're asking me who's my personal favorite, I want him in the 2nd round, Richie Grant. Richie Grant is my safety one this year. Thanks to Vaj Lombardi with his research as well as my own. I think that he's the best pick you can go. I think Morrig is your 2nd option. And his teammate,
Washington.
Washington. He's another guy. I think ultimately if you can get Richie Grant in the 2nd, that'd be fantastic. If you don't address safety in free agency. And I know people were mentioning in my chat, KZ, Keanu Neal. I like them.
Right.
And I think I can give them the Malik Hooker treatment. And I can get them on a cheaper deal because of their injuries. But the problem is I know what I would like, and I know what the Cowboys would do. So my problem is I doubt they take care of that. So
Shante Hall trying to divide us, Tuck.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay, what happened? Okay, for fun. Let's say we do okay in free agency, right? Let's say pick 10. You have Smith, Chase, and Pitts on the board. Y'all pick it, even though I know.
Yeah.
Hey,
here comes the divide.
Here goes the divide, man. Here's where I jump. Here's where I jump off that train and cross the tracks, man. It'd be
I'm still
at that point.
I'm dying on the hill.
Here's the thing. That I will agree. I think I'm going Kyle Pitts on that one, and here's why.
Yes.
As much as I love Jamar Chase, and I would probably love to see him in a Cowboys jersey, same thing with Devontae Smith, I already have 1A and 1B on this team in Lamb and Cooper.
Yep.
Cooper's ceiling, no, this is no knock on Gallup. Cooper's ceiling is top 5. Same thing with CD. As for Gallup, he reminds me of like a Juju Smith-Schuster. That I think he can be. He's great when you have another great receiver. He's good when you got another guy next to him. And again, and I think like I want to, I love Michael Gallup. I love him when we picked him. I just don't want to make it seem like just throw him off to the wayside. I think at that point you get a tight end that can really stretch the field and can really you can line him at where Gallup goes and you're just fine.
Right.
So I think that's the cool thing about Pitts is that he's basically a big ass wide receiver. But if that's the question being posed, then yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm taking Jamar Chase, man.
Yeah.
But
I love that you said, well, yeah, that's all cool and all. F y'all. I'm taking Jamar Chase.
I'm taking Jamar Chase. Now, I will say this. My main focus in this year's draft is just making sure Pitts or Chase doesn't go to Philadelphia. Then once we get past that, I can kind of sit back on my chair on draft day and relax a little bit. But I see a lot of Eagles content creators are talking about Chase or Pitts at their 6th pick. And I'm just like, I don't want to do
you got to have someone to throw to him.
Yeah, right. But if you were so, but they might take Mac Jones. So, I'll definitely take that pick, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys for coming on. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. So Space Cowboy, for everyone tuning in last minute, go ahead and tell everyone they can find you and all your content, man.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I got to just put it in the chat thing.
Get them out there.
Let's go.
I'm just writing in the chat. So with my poor spelling, if you click on my profile, if you're watching me on Tuck's stream, by all means, you can subscribe there. I believe I'm like a couple away from 7,000, so we try to get me there by the end of the night. That'd be fantastic. Or hell, if you're watching this on my end, by all means, make sure to leave likes as well as subscribe, but not only to me, but also to Tuck's channel. I recently found him out, so I've been watching some of his content while I'm driving to work and stuff like that, and he's got some great stuff. So it's fantastic to just listen to these conversations, man, that you have with the guys that you work with. And definitely, if you want me to come back on at a later date, all you got to do is holler at me.
Man. Yeah, man.
I'm open
part
to
of the
go.
fam now, so we'll definitely link back up, man. Hopefully, we'll link back up once we have our quarterback signed, man. Because I did not want to be talking about this Dak thing all summer, y'all. But I have a feeling that we're headed towards that situation, man. Nix, man, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, man.
Hey, man, on Twitter, your_guy_Nix, as it says on the bottom of my little panel there. Man, come follow me on Twitter, man. We have a good time over that way. Star Gang is the Facebook group. Star Gang is also the Facebook page. On YouTube, Star Gang Podcast. Man, go hit that sub. Go hit that notification bell, man. Me, Mary, Ella, and Spoonie will be on tomorrow night with the Cowboys Report at 8 p.m. Central. Man, come tune in and check us out.
Yeah, definitely check out the family, man. And for you guys, you can definitely find me on Twitter at JTuck151. I appreciate all the support, man. It was a little chaotic today on Twitter, man. Shouts out to Tad Prescott, man. Dak's brother, man. Kind of set things on fire today. But follow me on Twitter at JTuck151 and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cowboys Fans Only, man. I appreciate all the support, man. Like I said, I love talking content with great Cowboys fans. My guy, Space Cowboy, is very knowledgeable, drops great content, man. And he was checking one of these Dak haters.
We gotta sign Dak soon so Space don't leave.
Right.
Listen, I will say, sorry, go on, but I will say, if you want an incentive to follow me on Twitter, I am way more let's just say flamboyant on Twitter when it comes to how I act. So if you don't want me being on, like professional, go follow my Twitter page because I can be funny as hell on Twitter, especially when it comes to the bullshit. So
yeah, like I said, man, on Twitter you either leave a hero or stay long enough to become a villain, man. And eventually, like, Twitter just triggers you, man. Like, I'll be having a great day on Twitter, and I'll be like, you know what? Nah, chaos. Here we go.
Right.
It just comes. It just comes with
you type that tweet out, and right before you hit send, you're like, yeah, it's about to happen.
Well, yesterday it was going perfectly fine. Like, everything was good. It's probably like 7:30. Then I see this tweet about Dak is wanting a Pat Mahomes type deal, and it's about respect. I'm just like, oh hell, like the Grand Theft Auto meme. Oh, here we go again. Like I just knew what was coming. It was like, Pat Mahomes, Pat, are you crazy? Are you crazy? So it's what it's been. But I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Like I said, subscribe to all these guys' channels, man. Great content, knowledgeable guys, man. And definitely comment, like, subscribe to the CFO channel. I appreciate you guys. Have a good night. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and go Cowboys. Peace out.